Welcome back, folks, to the WP-Tonic Roundtable Show. This is episode 497. We've got a nice panel. I think I've found some interesting stories. I think it's going to be, it looks promising, listeners and viewers. It could be a great roundtable show. I'm going to let the panel introduce themselves, and then we're going to be quickly off onto the stories. And first of all, Kim Shivler, would you like to introduce yourself, Kim?
Yes, thanks, Jonathan. I'm Kim Shivler. I'm a business and technology coach and instructor. Excited to be guesting today.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Yeah, good to see you, Kim.
Yeah, always welcome.
Sally?
I've got my friend Sally. Sally, would you like to introduce yourself?
Certainly. My name is Sally Getch. I'm the WP fangirl and organizer of the East Bay WordPress meetup, which had its second virtual meetup this past weekend. And I am a devoted cat person and in possession of a new garden.
All right. Well, that sounds interesting. Spencer, would you like to introduce yourself?
Spencer Foreman from launchflows.com.
Right. And I've got Vito. Vito, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Sure. My name is Vito. I'm the founder and CEO of WP Feedback.
That's great. And we got Michelle. Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Yes, I am Michelle Butcher-Jones. I am from Southern Illinois. I work for a company called Thrive Agency as their support specialist, pretty much wrangling any type of fixes and tweaks you could do to WordPress-based websites.
There we go. And before we go into the main stories of the week, I just want to talk about a couple of our great sponsors. Our main sponsor, which is Kinster, been our main sponsor of the show for almost over 2 years. And I've been using their hosting for a similar amount of time. And it's WordPress hosting. It uses Google Cloud as their framework. It's really powerful, adaptive, and you get a superb interface. When you go and use other hosting providers, other clients' hosting providers, and look at their interface, you think to yourself, I couldn't go back to that. Basically, it's that good. You get all the technical bells and whistles. You can choose what version of PHP you want with one click backup. I can go on and on. And the main thing is you get really quality 24/7 support in those difficult situations and the client is not happy and you're under pressure, that you can get hold of somebody that can answer your question almost straight away. You're not put on hold for an hour plus, and the person you speak to normally can fix the problem. In my own experience, I've never had to be accelerated up the food chain. The person that I spoke to initially was able to deal with the problem. If that sounds interesting, go over to Kinster, and the main thing is tell them that you heard about them on the WP-Tonic show. Our other sponsor is LaunchFlows, and LaunchFlows is an amazing product. Only recently came on the market the past 3 months, but it enables you now to build really fantastic funnels, the equivalent of ClickFunnels, with their product, with WooCommerce and Animator, the free versions. By combining those three together, you can build really modern funnels, not only for WooCommerce, but practically for any situation. So go over to LaunchFlow's website and use the coupon code WP-Tonic-ROCKS. I repeat that, WP-Tonic-ROCKS, and you get 25% off LaunchFlows. So on to the first story, my beloved panel. WooCommerce Payments allows shop owners to manage payments without leaving the WordPress admin. What did you think of this one, Spencer?
My mic's on, right? So a couple takeaways. Always with the tavern, have to make a note. This is a Justin Tadlock, good article, slightly infomercially, but guest appearance, number 2 comment by the hermit, the man we love but never see, Mr. Matt Mullenweg. Audience appeal. Matt drops in on this infotorial to say, hello, here's our new Jetpack feature. which allows you to sell Stripe Gateway under a label called WooCommerce, which, after you read the details, I have no idea what they're trying to do here other than trying to get people to use Jetpack, because it's Stripe under the hood, white labeled as WooCommerce, but not in the WooCommerce plugin itself or even the WooCommerce extra plugin. It's a third WooCommerce thing that now when you connect, you have to figure out which thing I'm selling with Stripe and WooCommerce, and by the way, doesn't support subscriptions, recurring payments, or any other gateways.
Nothing that's useful.
It's a Gutenberg for WooCommerce.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's a Gutenberg for WooCommerce, but I haven't tried it, although I've been bombarded by emails from WooCommerce and, little pop-up notifications in my dashboard and all that good stuff. I think the idea is that for people who are just setting up a store, it's easier than, hooking up a payment gateway yourself and that kind of thing.
And stuff, yeah.
Hold on.
But,
Let's stop on that point, because let's break it down ourselves. Stripe Gateway is a plugin for WooCommerce that takes you, if it takes you more than 4 to 6 minutes to set up, you are literally doing something wrong. You go to Stripe.com.
The plugin is easy. Setting up your Stripe account?
But that's all that this does right now. It sets up Stripe through Stripe Express. It literally is Stripe without going to stripe.com. Why? The why is simply answered by Jetpack. This is
sure. It gives them it gives them more control. It gives them more leverage. It gives them more stuff. But it's pretty clear from the way stuff is described that they're aiming at the people who were using maybe a regular PayPal account, and all that, where they didn't have the ability to process the stuff on the site, and they're sending folks off to PayPal.
But Sally, I mean, let's just you and I, because I'm not criticizing your observation. I'm saying let's be intelligent, break this down. It doesn't work with PayPal right now. It only works with Stripe right now. It adds a third plugin for WooCommerce right now, and the dashboards give you 3 places to look right now. And the CEO of Automatic right now woke up from his golden slumber to make a comment on it right now in the infotorial of Justin's article. Why? Most companies would not release a half-baked product to a community that has a third of the internet that merely confuses the product that they already have, which is WooCommerce.
Well, this one does.
And a part of
this whole thing is like, maybe someday it will, and it should.
That is the way. That's why I love it. This whole fight.
And then on top of it, the kings of GPL, there's a part of the plugin that's hidden behind a private repository.
Phone at home, baby. Phone at home all the way.
So those who want to translate it can't. But they're thinking about making it public in the future.
Right. And in the meantime, you answered the question, Michelle. You bring up the good point, which is, those of us who've been here see it for what let's just call it what it is. This is just one step inching closer to one day you wake up and you put in Jetpack with WordPress, and everything else you just pay through Jetpack. Ta-da. That is clearly what the goal is here. I mean, it wasn't really hard to figure out before, but this is just one more thing of no way this is going to ever do anything without Jetpack, because they want to find the people who go to GoDaddy or to HostGator or Bluehost. Oh, look, one plugin, Jetpack, does it all. You have your WooCommerce shop and your payment gateway and the services and everything through us. Ta-da. Nothing to do with normal people using WordPress or using the ecosystem of .org, which would be fine if they just said it, like, hey, this is a .com product designed for...
I don't understand all the secrecy. This is what, it's all done, like it's a secret plan, isn't it? What do you reckon, Vito? Is it too secret?
I get the secrecy, like why you got to do some stuff like that under the hood. But I do agree with Spencer that it does seem half-baked compared to the audience and the level of the product that they should be building for. I see the model, Spencer. It makes sense, It makes sense. It simplifies the process. They have the person attention, when they set up this like this basic Woo shop, And so why not be that solution instead of Stripe? Because there is a discovery process that needs to occur before you open a Stripe account, for most people.
You can open a WooCommerce account instead through Automatic. That's what it is instead of Stripe.
Yeah.
It's going to be white label.
God,
It's
and
all
that-
one login.
Exactly.
It's all
Why
one
not,
login now, anyways.
And that,
why not?
that,
You won't be even aware of Stripe. You will just be using
Right.
it as the solution,
And
and they get a little cut out of this pie.
And what a dog's breath that was signing up for WooCommerce now is for the first time on the
Oh
site.
Lord, these people make it harder to buy
God
stuff from them.
almighty,
than-
what a dog's breath of a process.
It's easier to return something to WooCommerce than to buy something if you haven't set up an account
God, who
there.
ever thought that was to be taken out and shot? Just put out their misery of UX designing ability. God almighty.
I mean,
Yes.
they're just laying the groundwork, to be fair. They're laying the groundwork for Elementor to come in and kick some ass here because, like, everyone.
That's what I don't.
Well, it's everything we complain about is
I
an
don't think it's-
opportunity for somebody to do
Sure.
it better.
No,
mean,
but they have a very unique position because they have the product, so they can play stuff in front of people.
I think it's going to be great
and
news.
go through that.
It's pretty obvious what's coming, and I think it's really great. I'm pretty cool about it because I think for once Matt is going to get some serious competition in the WordPress ecosystem, and I think he's going to have to buck his ideas.
Did you just say ecosystem?
Yeah, exactly. I think he's going to have to butt his ideas up. I actually think, which is the most disturbing thing, is that he actually does believe that Jetpack was the driver of success for WordPress. And
I don't get this Jetpack thing at all.
I don't know.
No.
I think it's probably let them, put their tentacles into a lot of stuff.
No, but he actually, believes it, and it's quite disturbing that he can, it's total fantasy. What drove WordPress was all the thousands and thousands of blue collar, in separate communities that push WordPress to average clients for their website. That's what drove WordPress,
Right.
not bloody Jetpack. I don't know where. I thought he was taking the piss when he came out with that statement, but it's obvious he actually believes it. Which is even more disturbing, really, that he's in such a fantasy land that he actually believes that. And I always feel sorry about saying this because the Jetpack people are such nice people when you meet them at WordCamps, but it's a load of shit, isn't it? It's the worst. It's the worst
The
piece
first
of shit.
plugin to go after Hello Dollar.
It's the worst. It's the first thing you remove if and you got
Yeah.
any sense. You just ditch it straight away, don't you? So
Yeah.
there we go. That's my penny worth. That's me finished in the WordPress community. Yeah, but I don't care. I'm going to get even more outrageous in the next few weeks. I've just had enough of all this bullshit. Right. Want your content to succeed? Make it resonate with the right audience. Yeah. So what do you reckon of that one, Kim?
I liked the article. I mean, he always writes well. I think it was okay. It made sense. And I think he's right that a lot of people are just trying to write pretty much advertorial, infotorial sales content.
Which is understandable. It's understandable.
Right. And I think that was good. I think it was a long article to say that.
Yeah, he
It's like-
took a lot
like
of words to get to the crux of it, didn't it?
It's kind of one of those, like, you felt like it was, if you ever go to a recipe page and because of SEO, they spend, 1,500 words just writing about it. And you're just going, give me the damn recipe. And it kind of looked like that. I thought he did some great graphics. I liked it. It made sense. I would have liked him to get to a little bit more of the how. If we know we're going to address these people, great. But could I have some insight on how to address those people as opposed to just don't write sales content? What makes them more interested? You didn't get into that too much.
Right.
So
And
I
mean, the specifics of it are likely to depend on your audience and who you're trying to reach and what they're interested in. But you could probably cover a little bit more about, like, if you've got your current customers, what do they really like? What do they struggle with? What do they ask questions about? If you've got, et cetera, to find out what people might be interested in. And then, of course, you still have to address with problems 1 and 2 that he mentions at the top, that there's a lot of competition and that there are, kind of the Google and Facebook wanting to keep you there and keep people there and not send people off. And so, although depending on what you're doing, you don't necessarily need a large audience if it's the right one.
That's right.
You still it's not necessarily going to solve the reach issue, only the effectiveness once they get there.
So, what do you reckon, Vito?
I think it's a great distribution system, to think about it like that and talk about these amplifiers rather than trying to take people find people one at a time. There's a few ways to go about it. First of all, we're doing it right now, all of us. We're using Jonathan's platform as an amplifier for our messaging and for our credibility, but also from from a point of view of
well, if you thought you were doing that by coming on this show, you need to.
Oh man!
Well, I told you a few weeks back. Somebody actually, hired me for a consultation because he'd heard me on the show a few years ago and thought I sounded smart.
Yeah, there we go. We were starting.
It always startles me when somebody mentions they listen to the show at all. Yes, except for the cat, of course.
She's there.
Sorry, Vito.
So I think that a great way of doing this is creating articles that are like you were saying, tackling specific problems that the community has, but addressing this with some data. So if there's some information that you're collecting or some kind of feedback that you've gotten, this is always stuff that other publishers are always looking for, sharing data. Especially if it's framed in a nice and easy to consume way, like some colorful graphs, some colorful these infographics, if you will. That's a beautiful way of leveraging this strategy that he's talking now and reaching out to those people and actually getting a reply back.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Michelle? Michelle, are you with us? No,
Not at the moment. Sorry.
I'm not going to.
That was a little bit of oops, no brain.
No. I'll get back to you later, Michelle. All right. I thought I just. God, I'm terrible. I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. Spencer, what would any final words on this particular article?
I mean, Rand's he's the authority in this area, but I mean, as far as potential amplifiers being a focal point, I mean, I agree with the article wholeheartedly. I couldn't really add anything to it other than it was a really quick and well thought out article. So easily consumed and definitely to the point, which is don't waste your time.
Well, right. And I mean, I think one thing that could be useful is you've got all those nice graphics and that is something that send to a client who's, if you're a content writer, that you could send to a client and to help you explain how this works versus, how they may think it works.
I will say one thing. Although the article was really well written and a nice size, I felt the graphics confused the hell out of me.
Yeah, they did to me, actually.
Because he just took the same graphic and just made the green thing slightly bigger, but not bigger enough to be obvious. I felt like what he should have done is made the things much, much more drastically different so that when you go to the last paragraph, you get the point, which is, hey, focus your energy on potential amplifiers. So if you just made that one thing different, it would have been a better graphic. But otherwise, to your point. Right?
I've got a little tip for Michelle as well. Don't answer support questions as you. I've tried it myself. I've tried it myself, and it doesn't work out too well.
Spence, I think it's supposed to be the same illustration that he's just pointing out different things about the folks in those circles.
Right.
I mean, maybe, but that's the part that threw me off. Like, why give the same picture 5 times?
Because you can't put all the same. You can't put all the same text on the picture at once.
Yeah,
I'm a
well,
guy who doesn't read. I'm a guy who doesn't read directions. The columns thing that worked perfectly. When I got to the circles, I just felt like I was looking at the same picture. I had to do it like,
it's those circles. It's those circles. Back to Michelle.
Since I got my head back on right now,
Sure, Michelle. Right there we go.
Yeah, watching you unscrew it was really entertaining.
It was.
I had some drama I had to deal with.
All right.
I love articles, talks, anything like that pretty much goes on the basis it's not about you. Let me burst your bubble and show you the right ways. So I do like that aspect about this. But I do feel, I feel it was well written, but kind of still on a little bit of the internet marketing BS and not 100% informative. And it's really hard to balance that line when you are writing about marketing tips and like PPC and stuff like that. But he does do the article does do a good balance of it.
Certainly does. On to the next one. Where we
go on sushi when I go to his website.
Let's go for our break, actually, and then we'll be back with the next story. We'll be back in a few moments, listeners and viewers. We're coming back. I think we've had a good discussion on some more. Here's an interesting one. It comes from Brian Jackson. He's going to be joining us next week on the panel. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us this week. But he wrote, based on 5 to 6 years experience with him and his brother, 18 things we learned from building and selling WordPress plugins, good and bad. What did you think of this one, Vito?
Amazing article.
Up to his normal standard.
Yes, so I'm always a fan of Brian's content, and this was just like, I was trying to not from a bad way, but trying to fault it preparing for this session. But I just agree with everything here. It's just a beautiful summary of what you need to know and what you need to do to launch a successful product. Just take it and do it.
So what were the couple of the key
so one of the
that stuck in your mind that
right
resonated the most with you?
So one of the big things is be prepared to hustle, which I think that most people approaching this type of bit or this model, they think of it as like a passive income, if even to that degree. Which is not, and especially if you don't want to do, if you want to do something substantial with it, it's not. Getting ready for feedback. That was a beautiful point that he mentioned in there when it comes to iterating and listening to the audience. I think that WordPress can do a lot more of that, even at the top level. And
just a little bit.
Yeah, and one thing that I loved here is that he confirmed that VAT can be confusing, because I just hate it. It's one of my daily nightmares. And
there's they've combined both. It used to be 2 separate taxation departments, but they combined it, haven't they? But the VAT people are such nice people to deal with, aren't they?
Well, I mean, just trying to figure out where it works, where it doesn't work. The plugins that are supplied in EDD are just, I'm talking from based in Europe. I think it's a little different from this point, because you do have to calculate every single one, no matter where they are, and the plugins just don't do it well. He was suggesting another plugin here that I'll probably be.
I just happened to be looking at EDD plugins, because my husband may be using it to sell a little bit of Windows software he's written.
Right. All right. Yeah.
I love EDD.
Well, everybody I know who uses it loves it, and I've used it a little bit, the free version, and I like it. So
I haven't used it
Yeah.
that much, but I'm sure, you know.
But
'cause
there is at least one plugin out there that says it will, calculate your VAT, your
No, so
country by country VAT and stuff. But
so we're going through exactly what Brian is describing. So we're using the old solution that he was using for a while, but then he pointed out another one that I heard about by Bound 2. So they created a
that's
different,
the one I was looking at.
Yeah. So that seemed like a much better solution.
Right. I mean, sales tax in the U.S. is annoying enough that it's different for every city.
So, Kim, what did you think of this article from Brian Jackson?
Not a plugin developer here, but I really liked it because I actually thought that the information is spot on no matter what your products and services are. Like, you don't have to be a plugin developer. He had some really specific stuff, but even if you're a service provider, even if they're talking about the research and what do people actually want, what do they want to pay for. This is stuff that my clients, I'm always telling them the same thing, It's
right. I mean, the hustle, the feedback, all of those things do apply whether you're selling products or services or plugins or themes or whatever you're doing. I do think the support issue is something that happens, more when what you're selling is a technology product than something else. But
especially in WordPress specifically compared to so we have like our dashboard, which is like a SaaS kind of platform disconnected from WordPress, but then the plugin is a WordPress plugin, and 95% of the support is just plugin conflicts with the 60,000 other plugins that are out there that you gotta adapt your own solution. The other solution just works, because
funny enough, we mentioned your plugin in our interview show yesterday, and we were talking about how you combine the SaaS model with, and we felt that that was the majority of successful plugin launches. That is the model that they're going to pursue. What do you reckon, Spencer? What did you think of this article?
Yeah, I appreciate Brian's detail here. I thought there was a couple points that I thought was surprising. I mean, first of all, we use EDD on WP Fusion. We use WooCommerce on launch flows. I found it surprising he made such a blanket statement. Maybe he'll talk about it with regard to speed and EDD versus WooCommerce. I think that's something I wouldn't agree is a black and white.
Yeah, I was surprised about that when I read it. Yeah. But
he really, I mean, first his graphics are funny, so I appreciate that. But he really came out on the ledge with, I will never go back to WooCommerce again. And that's sort of I will never breathe oxygen again. I mean, pretty tough.
Right. I mean, EDD was developed for a very specific purpose, and I think it's very good at that. But there may, it also seems likely that there are other things where WooCommerce is going to be a better choice.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was interesting. Speed-wise, I don't even think that's relevant because we've had this conversation before. Nobody gives a hoot once you click checkout, whether it takes a millisecond or 10 seconds. It's up to the point of clicking the button that matters. But after they click the button, they can't undo clicking the button anyway. So nobody has
I've clicked it, I'm committed, I've actually did something.
The other question I had, although again, a great resource for anybody who's interested or already in the business, is I was interesting. I'm going to have to do some research as an American company, United States company who sells wherever they sell digital goods. I don't really concern myself with VAT. So I'm interested to know why that is so critical, because other than the client needing an invoice with a VAT number to self-declare, nobody from the 28 EU states is coming to my business to ask for money because I'm under the IRS's umbrella here as far as I know it. So I found that to be, why is he as an American company so freaked out about VAT collection and stuff?
Yeah, I was a bit puzzled by that. What do you reckon, Vito? Do you think he's just
Well, in the US, yeah, I don't think it's as big of a problem as it is here. But here you got to know that it's if this guy is from Germany, it's going to be 17.5% this month, and next month it might be something different. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a real shit fest, as they say. Basically, trying to deal with that, it will make your hair go even grayer.
Oh, and PayPal, by the way,
Yes,
PayPal,
and PayPal is hard. Yes, that is something all of us have used.
but like
That's
the
true.
PayPal thing, I want to just go on, like, say anybody has any other objection to this. I want to go on by saying, in 2020, if you feel that PayPal is required for people to buy your product and your product is over $5, I would have a nice debate with you, because
Right. That's actually something
Right.
I
I mean,
was thinking about just this week.
because there's
Yeah.
no way that it's worth the overhead for anything over $5 for all the downsides. And if somebody tells you they can't buy your product without using PayPal because it's too inconvenient to take out any of 1 trillion debit or credit cards that everybody,
Which your password manager probably has memorized anyway,
I mean,
so that you
it's
don't need to take them
ridiculous.
out. Kitty,
It's
you're not
ridiculous.
helping.
Yeah, but the downside of PayPal when you're running a business, WooCommerce, EDD, or anything, is now you've got this amazing unified process. Everybody playing like the team field of dreams, the perfect position, and then here comes PayPal, the dinosaur crashing the picnic. Is just your
That's true.
subscriptions are messed up.
Yeah, I mean, PayPal is a dumpster fire that way, so I was
But what
fortunate that with one of my e-commerce clients, she was moving away from PayPal at the time that I started working for her, and that was because she had a lot of customers who were in places that PayPal didn't support
Right.
payments from.
I tell people, if
And we went to Stripe, and it was so nice.
right, if it's a client of mine or a person buying the software from us, I say, if you want to use PayPal, here's the deal. I will sell to you on PayPal. Here's our PayPal email. Send me the money via email. I will manually create your transaction, but you get it for 1 year, 1 transaction at retail price. Or find somebody who has a debit or credit card in 2020, buy it with that and get the whatever discount, normal automation and everything. Because amazingly, magically, credit cards come flying out of their ass that otherwise they couldn't have. And it's just not worth taking on PayPal.
So you're not using PayPal on your checkouts at all?
Zero. And the
What do you do?
was
Yeah.
because when we did it with previous incarnations of products and services, the PayPal stuff became a nightmare to integrate as far as whose subscription is where and changing it and the invoicing. And when you do Stripe through WooCommerce or EDD, it's like, oh,
super smooth. Yeah, super smooth. But what do you do with subscriptions that you have running through PayPal? You got to keep them.
We
right?
don't. I say to them, like, somebody comes and say, oh, I can't check out with PayPal. I'm like, if you want to use PayPal, here's the deal. Here's our email. Send me the amount retail for the plugin. You'll get it for 1 year because I'll manually connect it, and you'll have to renew and do everything else. And then they go, oh, okay, wait, I found a debit card. I found a credit card. So as soon as you present them you're making my life difficult and you're going to have to pay by losing your benefits, they magically find a credit card because PayPal is convenient for certain things, and I use it for that. Spontaneous buys and blah, blah, blah. But because it's so fast to dump to a bank account, and what bank doesn't give you a debit card for your bank account these days? I mean, so I just say, look, we have one way to pay. Use any debit or credit card you want, done. And ironically, it hasn't.
No, but what I mean, like, so did you used to have PayPal before and stopped it? So you must have like a bunch of subscriptions still running on PayPal.
No, what happened was that, again, because there's a spread of time. On the original, like, First Web Designer 1 WD businesses, we had both. And then what happened, and this is ironic too, I want to warn people who use PayPal. Okay. I feel like I'm a moral person and so forth, but we provided access on a recurring subscription with PayPal. There were a number of people between 2013 and 2019 who continued to have money deducted automatically from their PayPal accounts because they had no freaking idea that the money was coming out. They still had full access to what they paid for, but nothing had been changed since 2014. So that's the ironic part about using PayPal, is that it buries that stuff now so badly for the actual PayPal account owner. But when it came to us, I literally, when subscriptions would end, I would only offer them the renewal using our normal gateway. And so what happened is it just weaned itself down over time. And then there was one person that I felt bad, but like they literally fell asleep and woke up 7 years later and, oh, I haven't logged in a while. What's new? Okay. Okay, whatever.
Oh, Jesus. On to the next story, I think. So here are 5 high growth startups to watch in 2020. So who to start off with this? Let's start with Kim. What did you think of this one, Kim?
I liked it. I actually found a couple I don't know, but most of them I'm already a fangirl of. So, I love Airtable. Haven't played with Calm too much. I already have a pretty significant meditation. But I thought it was
I
interesting.
definitely need to use Calm, don't I?
Yeah, you do. We'll even support you in it.
Well, I noticed Kaiser is like offering it to people. I got an email from them about it.
Now, I haven't got into Notion. I know some people that are really boring, and every time I speak to them, they try. All they talk about is Notion, and I've
only used it a little, but it's a different approach to the kind of project management collaboration stuff from something like Airtable. And it has this sort of wiki feature in it for writing stuff and creating pages along with. So yeah, it's interesting. But so far not interesting enough to dig deeply into it and make it my primary.
Now, when it comes to Calm, it's the variation of their business that shocks me. I listen to a number of startup podcasts, and I think their last variation, I can't remember precisely, but it was massive. And I just don't get it.
It's a consumer product. It could be massive. Everyone in the world can be using it potential-wise.
Yes, I mean, it says they have 300 business clients now too, which was not what they aimed for. But yes, the link is about the mental health unicorn leads to something that says $88 million that they've raised, and then investment values the company at $1 billion. Well, I'm not sure. I just don't get it.
I just don't get that this company's worth because it's so easy to compete against it. What makes it sticky? What makes it, it's just some voices going, be calm, your life's fucked up, but be calm.
Meditation is more than that, Jonathan. No wonder you do need it. You do need it.
Be calm, your life sucks and it's getting worse.
Yes, I mean, I think this is the time, right, when everybody is stressed out and anxious.
You're gonna die tomorrow, but be calm.
And it's something that's much easier than traditional meditation and techniques. So it's always right there with you.
I think part of it for them is, and again, it's not one I use. I have my own practice, but they have done a good job when I've looked at it of doing exactly what you said, Sally, bringing it down to the common man level. You can have a celebrity, and a lot of people love celebrities. You can have a story.
No, I'm not.
Right? I can see why it would be popular with people.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not totally. But
yes, I mean, at least you know what you're getting.
It's not worth $1 billion bloody variation. That's what I know.
It's probably got more genuine value than WeWork.
Well, that's not saying that's not saying that much, is it?
Right, but look how much money got thrown at them.
But going back to Calm, you can always go on YouTube and just do a search for fuck meditation, and there are so many videos like how to not give a fuck meditation that's 7 minutes long. And it won't leave you.
An actual state is not the care fuck.
You're not saying it's profitable, by the way. This is TechCrunch. So they're saying it's valued at $1 billion. They borrowed 90 million. It's not saying they're profitable. Right. You guys are,
of course.
Right. Yes. I mean, it's a
sucking sound.
Yeah, high growth startup does not necessarily mean it's going to get anywhere in the long term.
On to the next one, which I'm a little bit critical. I understand it has use, but I think they were very good at their propaganda, at their marketing, and that's Superhuman. So what do you think of Superhuman, Vito?
First of all, reading this, I was kind of intrigued. First, they created an amazing like scarcity when they're not allowing people in.
Yeah.
But also like the claims that you can go through your emails twice as fast and all of that. And I get so much
I think
crap
is
emails.
bullshit, don't you? Because I've
I
tried
don't know.
it.
I know I never tried it. I don't know what's inside, but
It's good, the interface, but you can't get your emails double. I don't know. What do you reckon, Spencer? Am I being really nasty now?
I mean, this is again.
if you
more
can,
Silicon-
it's worth
this is
$30
Silicon Valley.
for sure.
This is Silicon Valley hype, is what it is.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
I mean, we use a product that's outstanding for any teams called frontapp.io. That's where you have a central mailbox for your business, but you can use the same interface for your own emails. I can't say that I'm getting any more or less emails because the engine that I use for email is Google Apps or Gmail, which filters all the spam out anyway. So reading my emails doesn't need to be any faster. The interface on front is about as fast as you can go. The fact that they say they've got 100 in this article, Richard's just being provocative. They've got 180,000 people waiting to pay $30 a month. I don't think they do because I'm pretty sure their VCs would let them pay if
I
they
would have
really.
thought so, wouldn't you?
Furthermore,
why-
Right.
do you
Yes.
think
I mean,
that-
what they probably have
yeah.
is 100,000 people who signed up to say
A waiting
"Send me
list.
more
It's
Yeah.
like
information."
having
An
blood in
emails.
the water. The sharks swimming around. He won't take another chunk out the corpse.
I've got a hot dog stand and my hot dogs are free. I'd have 180,000 people waiting for free hot dogs too. As soon as you ask $1, that list would go down substantially.
Right.
More importantly, I think that now that we've been talking about calm, I think Jonathan really needs to make a sleep story. So, hello, folks, and welcome back to your sleeping. And it's just everything else would be so perfect, John.
I'll base it on Animal Farm.
Back to your morning.
I feel that I'm living through George Orwell's Animal Farm, living in America in 2020. Anyway, I just think
Yes. Well.
I just think you foresee it's a combination of Animal Farm and 1984 combined. It's
Right.
sinister, but it's fasterful as well. You just gotta. Now, has any of you used Notion?
I've used
Only
it
a
very
little.
well, and it's a good organization. Sorry, Sally, go ahead.
Yeah, only a little. I mean, I liked it, and I keep getting their emails and thinking, well, they've mentioned a bunch of other stuff. I should probably check it out. But yeah, like in what copious spare time? It's there. A lot of these tools are very nice in different ways, but choosing one is hard, partly because it's not just about what works for me. It also has to be about what's going to work for any clients I want to use it with, and which clients are into using any kind of collaboration and project management tools at all, versus which ones only want to ever use email.
Now, the only one,
And
the
they're
only one-
also
Go on.
also with these. I haven't tried it yet, but the one thing I find with these is I think I've bought like I don't know how many. It's embarrassing on AppSumo deals because I just have to have the damn deal.
Oh, you
But
need
once you
a
get
Sumo therapy,
into
don't you,
one,
Kim? You
right,
need a Sumo
I
therapy.
do need some
This is a
software
Sumo.
purchasing therapy.
Oh, we got
you need the
we got a
once you're-
meeting next week you can attend,
Okay.
Kim. So it's a Slack meeting for the people that are weaning off of Sumo deals.
Right.
I actually need
Sumaholics
that.
Anonymous.
Yeah.
Yes, I need that. But the point with any of these is once you've got one and you use it and all, trying to then pull out and do something else, you're committed so much. But
Yeah.
it really takes something special
Commitment,
once you've
terrible.
got your CRM, your project management, all of that done. Now to go start a new tool.
Now, I just want to finish
It's
off.
not an easy
Tough
thing
sell
to
for
chase
me.
the shiny with.
Yeah.
Now, to
that's true.
finish off Airtable, I don't use it, but I think this is one of the few serious. Now, what makes Airtable so good, Kim?
I like that it's so easy to share. I mean, even people who aren't technical, a lot of times if I'm working with them, they'll just have an Airtable. These were the things that they wanted to create, and maybe we're building a curriculum or whatever. They've already put it in there. They found it easy to do. I can see where they are, and it's easy to manage, manipulate, share with others. That's what I like with it.
I have to say, if it's based on spreadsheets, that's going to give it a huge advantage with corporate clients, given that,
Right.
most of them seem to know how to use Excel and PowerPoint, and that's it.
That's all you need in modern America, isn't it?
And it really beats the
count
heck
the
out of
deaths every
Google
week,
Sheets if you want to share a spreadsheet with somebody.
Well, like I say, that's all you need in corporate America, and count the deaths every week, of the people that died in your organisation. There we go. There. Shit. Right. On to the, you didn't laugh at that.
I think the pandemic has
Mm.
increased your cynicism factor exponentially.
I just watch it. Like I say, it's Animal Farm in slow motion, Right. Let's finish off. BuddyPress 6.0 released with new group and member blocks. What did you think of this one, Sally?
Well, I think that it's good that they're keeping at it, but BuddyPress has been kind of unloved in general. I mean, I think they put out something else recently, and I loved the concept of BuddyPress when it first came out, but it is, it's not exactly the like Facebook in a box for your website that it, was pitching itself as from the beginning. And it seems like it's harder and harder for people to get folks to participate in a separate, community on their website. Vito may have some input on this, but that a lot of people, well, it's like, yeah, but, I'm already in Facebook all the time, or I'm already in Slack all the time, or I already, and so that may be part of why, BuddyPress has not been getting so much love. And I don't know whether adding blocks to it will help.
Well, Spencer, do you think it just needs to be put out of its pain? Just needs the bolt in the head.
I mean, I think I'm back to the consistent feeling about all this. I mean, with respect to the conversation, Sally brings up good points about the benefits of Gutenberg, but until Gutenberg gets its act together and decides it's an editor, not a page builder, I find it just tiring to have all these take a wagon wheel, attach it to the Tesla kind of a product. BuddyPress does not need this. And Michael Eisen at BuddyBoss pretty much now owns and controls the entire BuddyPress, BBPress ecosystem. Triple J seems okay with that anyway. And so when we have clients, the decision is we just say, do you have a social network first kind of an idea? Yes or no? If it's yes, we say use the BuddyBoss stuff. If they say no, we say use Astra because you just need a spacer between WordPress and Elementor. And this whole conversation about Gutenberg just exhausts me because I'm sure there'll be dozens and dozens of these kinds of products, and they're all going to become irrelevant as soon as.
I'll tell you something I noticed. It was just a comment, and it fascinated me. It was this week, and it was from Adam from WP Crafter, and he was remarking to somebody that was saying they were having a problem with Lifter LMS with a page builder. I think it was Elementor. And he said no. And I thought to myself, what he said was that all the people that approach him are having problems with either LearnDash or Lift NMS, he said, and I help them for free. He said that it's all about integrating it with page builders. This is going to be so much easier with Gutenberg. And I thought to myself, Adam, you've based your whole channel, your working with Astra and building your whole YouTube channel, which you've done a fantastic job of, but it's all based on page builders. And suddenly you, in one breath, you can throw them under the train. Did you see that?
I didn't see that. That does interest me coming from Adam. Although, I mean, Elementor came out with Gutenberg blocks right away, so that perhaps it is going to be more of the, more of a combination of some kind, so that.
But what I can't accept, Adam, is that you have an intellectual position, and then literally one breath, you throw it under the train. What do you reckon, Spencer?
Well, obviously, I have some experience with Adam and how they do business. And what Adam does really well is he's built up an enormous YouTube audience for WordPress topics. I would say mostly of people who are at the early stages of figuring out what they want to do. And so from that extent, his business model in WP Crafter is very transparent. It's affiliate links. Okay. So he has to serve that master, and he's been very clear about it himself in recent times about how Amazon hit his business when they got rid of affiliate links and so on and so forth. So he's serving his YouTube income master, his affiliate link master. But then he's got one other foot in the world of being obviously a creator with their product and his relationship with Sujay. And I think that's where the discrepancy comes, because as you've rightly pointed out, the way they do things with their plugin and the way Astra does certain things, I have obviously personal discrepancy with. That's why my business does what it does. And I find it's very hard to serve two masters in a public space where your comments are out in the open. It's like being a politician. So I'm being very diplomatic here. I don't envy him, but I understand why he's sort of got his foot in his mouth on this. And ultimately, he'll just.
Did you notice that post that I'm
Yes, of course. I watch everything that's created that relates to what I do, and what he does there, I was interested in because of the launch flows, cart flows thing. And in that particular case, I noticed recently he's had to make certain videos that kind of like acknowledge things that his plugin doesn't do, but here's a PHP script, like his last video, that you can use a plugin to add a PH script to fix what's wrong with our plugin. And I found that to be odd too, because it's sort of tangential.
Yeah, maybe you should just patch your plugin.
Exactly. And so I'm saying it's very hard. I'm being diplomatic to his position. It's very hard when your main income is coming from the left side, but then you have to appease the right side.
Yeah, but I was aghast at this comment. I thought I read it. I read when I read it the first time. I thought I'm gonna have to read it.
Well, yes, I mean I don't recollect him ever being very pro Gutenberg, but it seems like he may have gotten a reminder about one thing that Gutenberg was supposed to accomplish, although it's by no means there yet, was having something consistent that everybody used.
It's like being taken up the mountain by the leader, and then suddenly said, "Well, I'm taking a helicopter, and I'm just leaving you at the top of the mountain."
I mean, you got to also keep in mind he's recently had recommendations that I take issue with, because they're also against his interest in the relationship with Astra and Sujay. He recently said that this is the best theme of the year, and it was that one that started with a K or something.
Yeah, I never heard of him.
And I'm looking at that, reading that, watching the video, thinking, what are you talking about? Like your products, your partner, your income stream is coming from Astra, Element, or those other things. And here you're talking about recommending to people to start with this standalone, I can't remember the thing, the K theme, whatever it is.
Yeah, they're based, yeah.
It's the same problem. Like, why are you recommending a theme at all? But there you go. So
there you go. There we
it's
go.
tough to be a YouTube.
Yes, although, I mean, Jonathan, I do remember a fairly well-known situation where a politician in Britain was, accused of having a different stance on something than they embraced 10 or 15 or 20 years ago.
That would never happen.
Right. And the response was basically, I change my opinion when the facts change.
Yeah, right.
That
never happened in politics.
Well, I can say about
well,
that.
it certainly doesn't seem to, doesn't seem to happen in politics today, because facts are irrelevant. But
there you go. That would ban me from YouTube if I responded to that in the way I wanted to. Right, let's go. But I just thought I'd mention that he probably never answer an email from me again. But I'm sorry, Adam, but I was a little bit aghast at that. But there we go. So, Kim, how can people find out more about you and what you're up to? Oh, no, we haven't done our products. I apologise, listeners and viewers. Kim, have you got anything you want to recommend to the listeners and viewers?
It's not a product, and for you guys, this is way too basic, but if there's any little newer developers out there, I've been in child theme hell recently. Do not edit the main theme.
No.
Customize a
Don't
child.
just don't
That
do
is
that,
why
kid.
child themes were invented.
So please don't argue with me about it. Do it. That's my recommendation.
All right, yes. Well, do put a little sentence into chat, and I'll make sure that's all right. Sally, got any recommendations?
Yes. Now, this is not something I've tried yet because it just, showed up actually, in an ad in a newsletter. But it's a product called Scroll that does something that I've heard lots of people ask for. As you know, everybody is moving to subscriptions for this, subscriptions for that. And people are like, for God's sake, all these subscriptions. Can't somebody just bundle this stuff together and I can pay like one amount and get access to a bunch of different things? And that's what they are doing, is saying you pay us and you get access to all of these partner news publications with no ads. And it will speed the reading experience up, because everybody knows it is an absolutely miserable experience to try to read anything that has ads on. And half of them now will not let you read it with your ad blocker on, unless you pay. And again, am I going to juggle all of these different subscriptions?
That's a good one. I will definitely sign up for this, because my pet peeve is I have Apple iPhone, and even in Apple News, it's like half of them all of a sudden say, pay me $2.49 or $3.69 a month. And it's like, I'm not going to sign up for a subscription to read your one article or two articles a month. But this makes sense. $2.50 a month, and I can read maybe a dozen of those companies. That actually is logical. It's an aggregate.
So, got recommendations, Spencer?
Yeah, this one's a little esoteric. I actually had two, but I was going to go with this one. If you are thinking about doing something with your own plugin and it's monetized, I had an enormously amazing experience. Took a chance with the guys at Appsero. It's the Happy Add-ons company that develops this. And the solution is one for anybody who wants a plugin that needs automatic updates. There are ways to do this through add-ons for EDD or custom code or block your own, but essentially you got to provide a lot of stuff to make this process simple. They have a dashboard and interface. They are the guys at WeDevs, I think, actually, and they are scratching their itch. Saif, I want to call out to, who helped me walk through some of this, took a couple road bumps here, but at the end, anybody who's thinking about having a plugin that you're going to, take money and then it auto updates, I would definitely check this out, because it's free now. They say it'll be about $25 per 1,000 people, but an amazing dashboard, a professional experience. And again, seems like it's scalable, but for me, it was just a risk worth taking, because I thought, I'll try it. And at the end, that's what we ended up installing in about 6 hours over the weekend on launch flows. And it really just provided a one-stop shop, so I don't have to deal with any of that stuff anymore. So I would recommend it.
Question on that. Were you doing the EDD pushes before moving to this solution?
I've done it two ways, and obviously Jack has set up his own blend of stuff with EDD and the plugins update, but we use WooCommerce on launch flows. And so I was going to use either EDD's solution and then self-hosted on A3 or S3, or I was going to do some other one of these free kind of like workarounds. But you always end up having to babysit everything. What this does, which is nice, is instead of giving you a heavyweight stuff, it gives you a pro dashboard with all the interface stuff with the client, so you know what they're doing, how they're doing, and it looks great, feels great. But they also have built-in integration with WooCommerce, WooCommerce subscriptions, the built-in with, like, you can auto license. So all the little nitpicky stuff turned out to be just like one or two snips of code added to launch flows, set it up, and I can gladly and highly recommend this as a better outcome. Not that many people obviously are writing plugins, but if you are somebody that has a plugin, there's another type of plugin that Vova Feldman has, Freemius, which does a different model. I love Vova and his company, and I knew him when he started it, but that's a different model, because what that does is you put the plugin in and it's like, hey, Freemius, do you want to pay for this? And I find that, I've asked him, I found that a little annoying. What this does is it looks like you wrote it yourself. It looks literally like a pro. You don't even see it as the user, and I appreciate that. So it's an alternative.
Put the links all into chat, Lou. So Michelle, have you got anything you want to recommend?
Mine is more community-based, and seen it a lot, and it's getting better, but we just had like another one of it today. When you do a panel, when you are a lead organizer for a WordCamp or any type of conference or something like that, be mindful of who you are picking for to do the talks and the panels, and be mindful of how you're setting things up, and include diversity, and make sure you are doing that purposely.
Yeah, well,
To make
I try my best. I do try. For my sins, I think the panel would say I try and get more diverse people on.
We've actually got an even balance of genders today.
This is the most diverse WP-Tonic show in recent memories.
But I do. Vito, you got anything you want to recommend to the listeners and viewers?
Yeah, so we're talking about BuddyPress, and I wanted to share the solution that's kind of like forked it out like a year ago, and they've been doing an amazing job at it, reviving this entire kind of platform and giving it a really nice, fresh breath of air on it. It's called BuddyBoss, and definitely everyone should, if you're looking for a BuddyPress solution, forget about that and go for this. That would be my recommendation.
If you're going to go down that route and you're going to stay in the WordPress ecosystem, you've got no alternative. Well, you can not do that, but you'll regret it. That's all I've got to say. Good luck to you. Don't ask me to.
No, but with BuddyBoss, the experience is completely different. So I had a chance of building a few BuddyPress websites along the years. For clients and for stuff that we were doing for the band, for example, we were managing a community through that. But this is just a whole new level.
Yeah. Right, before I ask the panel to say how they could be contacted, I want to tell you, listeners and viewers, I'm doing a free webinar with Spencer Forum on the panel, and that's going to be on Tuesday, the 2nd of June. At 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Me and Spencer are going to be going through how to use his launch flows with Elementor, with WooCommerce to build really fantastic funnels that can be better than ClickFunnels solutions at a very more attractive price, and you will be able to ask questions of me. You won't get a sensible answer, but you will get sensible answers out of Spencer. It's ability to learn how to build real great funnels and talk to a real expert on the subject.
I want to clarify, just not that it's different. Funnels are funnels. Custom checkout experiences are different. We focus with launch flows on the custom checkout experience, which is the WooCommerce part of whatever. But that's typically part of a larger sales funnel, which may involve your sales pages, might involve your LMS. And in this webinar, we're going to cover the stack that I always refer to on the show, right? It's WordPress, WooCommerce, WP Fusion, your favorite CRM, Lifter LMS. If you like LearnDash, it's similar. You're going to have like the launch flows and all the other accessories that go along with that. And then ultimately for any kind of business, whether it's an e-commerce shop or it's a membership site, it will give you the framework for free. And you'll be able to you can go now to our free demo, just get a site that's all set up we're using, and you'll be able to play along and keep it and do all your thing. And then from there, all the other plugins that you want to add into that stack work perfectly, because that foundation is something that over the last 14 years, and especially the last 3, we found works for a brand new ballerina or a billionaire. And everybody's just looking at the Home Depot thing, and it's so confusing, but it's not. It's like buying an iPhone. You just buy the iPhone, and there's a couple apps that work, and then that same phone works for everybody. So if you want to come and learn what you're doing right or wrong, or how you might try it differently, all this stuff is free, and even the software is mostly free because,
So it's a great opportunity to ask questions of Spencer. How do you sign up? You go to the WP-Tonic homepage. In the top menu, there is a button that says free webinar. You click it, you sign up, and you'll be given updates nearer to the 2nd of June to join us on this webinar and learn how to build modern funnels and checkouts. It's going to be a blast. Now, Kim, how can people find out more about you and what you're up to?
You can find me on Twitter at Kim Shivler, or you can find me online at kimshivler.com.
And Sally, how can people find out more about you and what you're up to?
I am at Sally Getch on Twitter and Instagram, and WP Fangirl most other places. And you can find me at WPFangirl.com.
And Spencer, how can people find out more about you?
I'm at launchflows.com, but I'm also captivated. Sally, is that a green screen behind you, or is that an actual picture?
It is a green screen. The photo is one I took of the park that's next to our housing development.
But the thing is a green, because I'm noticing
it's an actual piece of fabric hung on the wall. Yes.
green though, right? Oh, because okay.
Yes, it's green. It's a you know, it was like $25 from Amazon, and because I did not want to go to the production of like putting up a rail for it or anything, it's just thumbtacked onto the wall. I moved the posters. And it works fine. And the next thing is that I'm going to get an external camera and a mount so that it doesn't like jiggle around when I
That's right,
shift
because
the
you're
laptop.
in the uncanny valley now. Like when you move your laptop, you're in the uncanny valley.
Right. So I don't. Yes. Since everybody is spending so much more time on video calls, my compulsive, my pandemic spending has tended toward things like that.
Right. That's fascinating. Vito, look, Vito. English just comes out of me. Vito, how can people find out more about you, what you're up to?
You can check out wpfeedback.co and find me on Twitter as well, Vito Peleg.
All right, that's nice.
I'll send Jonathan a link to com after this. I think you need to download the app.
All right, fair enough. Don't do that. For God's sake, don't do that to me.
You're going to give Jonathan a heart attack.
My heart attack.
Now he really needs calm.
Blimey, I go hot. I literally, he's shown. Oh, Jesus, just don't do that. Michelle, how can people find out more about you? What you're up to?
Okay, website, can'tspeakgeek.com. Twitter, Michelle_Butcher. And on most Slack groups, I am at Michelle Butcher Jones. And it's Michelle with one L.
Are you just trying to make it? Is this a test to put the right address in so they can actually communicate with you?
My mom, she didn't really believe in double letters because my middle name is Lynn, but spelled simply Lyn.
All right. Well, if you can understand.
Well, yeah, I mean, Michelle's mother and my mother have obviously something in common about non-traditional spellings.
Well, there we go. Well, thank you very much, panel. It's been a blast. I think it's been an excellent show. We'll be back next week, folks, with another great WP-Tonic roundtable. We'll see you next week, folks. Bye.
Bye.